Welcome to the Two Gaelic Grounds for the Irish Wire Products Limerick Senior Football Championship final between Adare and Newcastlewest. It's Newcastlewest who are gunning for a third Father Casey Cup in a row, while Adare trying to win their first Senior Football Championship title for the first time since 2020. Very wet conditions here at the Two Gaelic Grounds. Started to clear up a bit. We just had a deluge a few moments ago. But ahead of this afternoon's clash, we caught up with both camps in the lead up to the game, starting with Padraig Ryan from Adare and Jimmy Lee, Newcastlewest manager.
Now heading into another county final, we have Padraig Ryan of Adare. Padraig, a third final in a row, seeking a first win in that run.
Yeah, I suppose you could say we're lucky. We got a good test last Saturday from Father Casey's. Good young team, well prepared, and hoping for the best.
Padraig, since Adare were relegated, I think it was in 2016, 2017, came straight back up. It has been a phenomenal run by this group of players, which are basically mainly unchanged.
Yeah, I suppose a lot of hurt happened that time, when we got relegated, and a good bunch of young players, well committed to training and backing each other up, and I would say a good backroom team as well, and well supported by our top table in the club.
We tend to focus on the senior team and what they have achieved, but in there between it all are two premier under-21 football championships. Yeah,
well, and that's what has been the roots behind the success. Small margins. You talked about the last 2 years, small margins. Hopefully next Sunday the margins, or Sunday week, the margins will be on our side.
Talk to me about the current group stage just finished. Ended up with a 100% record.
Yeah, well, look at it. I said the training went well. The cooperation between the hurling side and the football was very, very good. Few injuries. I suppose the management and the whole team managed the players very, very well and got the best out of them every day, and no one got burned out.
How important, Padraig, was it to get a real stern test in the semi-final?
Well, in the semi-final, I suppose they were coasting 6 or 7 points up. And when the tide turns in matches like that, it's very, very hard, to stop it. Lucky enough, it was a draw at half time, and they came out in the second half, and they gave their best, and they came out 3 points better than Abbeyfield. Abbeyfield are a good quality team; they don't lie down.
It's a third final against Newcastlewest, but it's a fourth final actually in a row. You won the final in 2000 against Ballylanders. You have been tantalisingly close to Newcastlewest in both 2021 and again last year in 2022. What do you think it'll take to just get over the line on this occasion?
I suppose it's going to be down to the 15 and the 5 players that will support them on the day. It'll be down to the management and how to set out their team. Newcastlewest are a very talented team. They have a lot of county finals and they've a lot of talented players, and they have a very excellent backroom team. I mean, the person who's looking after them is going in to manage the Limerick county team, so there won't be any questions there.
Right, we're joined here now by the Newcastlewest manager, Jimmy Lee. Jimmy Lee, fantastic season so far. 6 games, not a glove laid in you, into another final, third final in a row.
Yeah, it's been a good season, Matt. I'm not so sure I'd say not a glove laid in us, but at the same time, it's a good season so far.
Jimmy, would you have preferred, had you got a tougher semi-final than you got last weekend?
It was a tough semi-final, Matt. I know the scoreline probably looks different, but it was physically very demanding and tough. Monley not a good outfit. Always have been and always proved tricky. I know the previous 2 times were probably tighter, Matt, but at the same time it was still a very physically demanding game. Wouldn't have an issue with the demands of it. You got to remember we were a point up with after 5 minutes into the second half, I'd say, maybe 10 minutes. But up to that point, it was nip and tuck, and it could have gone either way. I think Brian Nick scored a point to take us 2 up. They went down and kicked another one. So, and it was only from there on that we actually started to pull away. Like, so I mean, the demand was there in terms of physicality and stuff like that. So it was a ding-dong battle. Like.
This group have been 5 or 6 years on the road, right up there at the top, challenging. How big a challenge is it the longer it goes on, sort of champions in 2021, champions in 2022? How big a challenge was it coming back in 2023? Or, dare I say, did the potential of 3 in a row feed into it?
It doesn't really matter. Like, I mean, to be fair, it's the 23 county final, that's what it is. Look, it's well documented, we've lost a few, like, I mean, to travel and stuff like that. So, I mean, there's depth there in the panel. Like, the juniors are playing the county final as well. Like, so, I mean, it's kind of, you're losing people, but you're bringing through people. And sure, look, it's that's the nature of the game. Like, I mean, you can't stand still. So, like, I think 10 of the people that played in 21 haven't played in 23. Like, so that's just the nature as it is. Like, so I mean, I suppose we're lucky enough in the sense to have that sense of depth in terms of youngsters coming through, like, and to be able to drive on. Like, I mean, they're led by the likes of the older lads, we'll say, in terms of Mike Mackey, and, you know, like, there's a cohort of James Kelly, like, and they're kind of showing them the ropes, like, and the likes of Dion Neville's, Emmett Richter's are learning, and have learned. Like, Aaron was 17 last year playing the Munster final, like, so I mean, he has, for such a young age, a lot of experience, like, so I mean, look, like, there was nothing about the 3 in a row, and there is nothing about it. Like, I mean, it's 2023 championship, but at the end of the day, like, it's the lads that really drive the agenda, Matt. Like, I mean, we're there, we facilitate it, we have the coaches in place. Like, it's well documented, have a good team of coaches around it. Like, so I mean, we just get on with it then, like, but the players do drive it, like.
For the third year in a row, Jimmy, it's Adare are providing the opposition in the final.
Yeah, you know, like, we know each other pretty well. Like, I mean, God, like, it is year 3 of it. Look, the last 2 times, Matt, there was only a kick of a ball in it. Like, it could go anywhere. That's the reality of it. So there'll be no expectations in terms of, you know, we have to knuckle down. We're back this week training. We'll reset, we'll focus on the final, and we'll see where it takes us. And that's the essence of it.
Well, that was the thoughts from both camps ahead of this afternoon's Irish Wire Products Limerick Senior Football Championship final. Billy Lee, former Limerick manager, joins me for this afternoon's game. Billy, we heard from your brother Jimmy there, and of course Patrick Ryan from Adare. That's all talk well and good. It's over now, that kind of talk. It's all about what's on the field. As you see in front of us here in the gantry, in the Mackey stand, both sides now lining up, going through the parade. What's going to thoughts of the lads now at this stage?
I suppose just focusing on the first ball. Conditions are difficult. There was a very heavy shower there for about 10 minutes before the game. So I suppose the simple things, just get your hand on the ball as quickly as you can, settle into the game, and let it take shape after that.
Quick check on the teams now, starting with Adare. They're on change from the advertised programme. In goals, Jeffrey Alfred. Full back line of Keane Sparling, David Connolly and Jack Fitzgerald. Ronan Connolly, Adare captain Shane Doherty and Paul Maher make up the half back line. Midfields is Jack English, partnered by Joe Sweeney. Half forward line, I should say, Shane Costello, Robbie Burke and Davy Lyons. Full forward line, Shane O'Connor, Hughie Burke and Adam Canny. Over to Newcastlewest, who do have one change from their advertised programme. In goals, Michael Quilligan. Full back line, Mike O'Keefe, Darren O'Doherty, and wearing number 17, Michael O'Leary comes in for Michael Cremin. Ruan O'Connor, James Kelly and Brian O'Sullivan make up the half back line. Ian Corbett and Sean Murphy in midfield. Aaron Neville, Emmett Richter and Brian Nixon the half forward line. Owen Hurley, Mike McMahon and Thomas Quilligan in the Newcastlewest full forward line. Bill, you mentioned the conditions as another downpour starts here at the two Gaelic grounds. It is going to make free-flowing football very, very difficult for both teams who like to play their football in the way they do, but you know, it definitely has to be a bit of a leveller for them as well.
Indeed. Look, Any ball in around the square today could go anywhere. It's really difficult conditions for the players. It's just coming down in buckets. So look, I suppose they're marching behind the band there now, and at this point they're going to be getting cold. They just want to get on with it and get the game going, because it's just difficult. So I suppose it's just about doing the simple things in conditions like this, not trying to be over elaborate and keeping it simple. Moving the ball through the hands. It's not going to be easy kick pass because the ball is going to sleed off the surface. So it's simplicity more than ever today.
Newcastlewest obviously going for their third Father Casey Cup in a row. They're trying to, usurp them in a sense. They've been the two dominant teams in the last 6 years, the Limerick Senior Football Championship. It's no surprise to see them both here today as well.
Absolutely. I think they've won maybe the last 5 or 6 championships, and there's literally nothing between the teams. AJ O'Connor had to come off the bench 2 years ago to win it here on a Friday night in what was a kind of a poor enough game. And last year we were very fortunate, the death of the game, to get an equaliser. When we turned them over with the last kick of the game, we get an equaliser. So I don't expect much more than a score, a kick of a ball between the two teams today. One team's going to have to collapse for some other team to go and win it by 4, 5, 6 points. That's highly unlikely. They know each other well. They're very competitive. I think there'll be a bit of a bite in the game as well. You'd expect it coming from a day. They won't want to lose 3 in a row. And they're a decent footballing side. Plenty of pride and passion within that jersey. So that's what you'd expect to see from them, and that's what I expect to see from them. And Newcastle are just going to have to stand up to it and keep calm and keep focused. And they're going to be chased down, hunted down. So they got to expect that.
Also going to have a minute's silence before throwing here this afternoon for Vivian Cobb, former Limerick hurler, of course, of the St. Patrick's Club, Joe Maher of the Ula Football Club, Ray Joyce of Adare, and Miss Eileen Dormer, of course, mother of Brother Dormer, synonymous with the Doon GA Club as well. So we wish all those families, and we pass on our condolences to their recent losses, and we'll now pause for that minute's silence. Impeccably observed. A minute's silence that will now be followed by our own Naveen. As the rain dissipates here to Newcastlewest grounds, a rainbow appears, Billy. Hopefully that's a sign of a good game ahead of us this afternoon. Adare in their final huddle, we'll call it, going through their final checks for Newcastlewest are well done with theirs. They're going to be playing from right to left in their traditional black and white, while Adare in their red and black from left to right as we see it. Billy, moments before referee John O'Halloran from Broree gets us underway here for this Senior Football Championship final. Who are you looking to see who's going to do it?
Well, I'd have to go with the family connections. I'd have to put it on record that we're going for Newcastle. I really don't. Truthfully, it could go anywhere. It's whoever just works the hardest in a day like today, gets the breaks. I'm a firm believer you make your own breaks by working hard, and you're there to mop up around loose ball and stuff like that. So I think the team that will work hardest will win this game there today.
Thoughts of former Limerick manager Billy Lee before John O'Halloran throws the ball in. Adare have a very strong breeze heading into the city end in this first half. We'll soon see if that's going to be a huge distance, but the 2023 Limerick Senior Football Championship final is underway, and it's Newcastlewest immediately winning possession. There was Emmett Richter winning the ball from the throne. James Kelly picking up possession. There's a man down, an incident off the ball, Billy. There's something happened straight away here. We didn't see, we were following the ball, but there's a man down straight away.
Yeah, I think it was just a push. I don't think there's anything too outrageous or anything like that, but it looks like Shane Doherty, is it? Number 6, 5, Ronan Connolly maybe.
It could even be Jack English. No, it's not Jack.
It's
Joe Sweeney.
Joe Sweeney, yeah.
Down, yeah.
I don't think there's anything too major.
Their physio is in like a shot to tend to his needs. And now we have glorious sunshine here at the Ennis Road venue. And it's a little bit of concern, Billy. But then, look, just the one thing we don't hope for today is a stop-start game. We'd be hopeful that it would flow throughout, but the realities of a county football final are very different to that.
Yeah, and look, I think the players will want it free-flowing as well as much as it can, because like they've been cold there just before the game, waiting for the parade and the minute silence and or on the Veen, and now this happens, and it's hard to get the body going, and it's a cold day and it's incessant with rain. Thankfully, it's stopped at the moment, so the players will want this game to flow for the next 10 minutes with little or no stoppage time. But obviously, there is a concern for young Sweeney there. He isn't staying down in wet conditions like this just for the sake of it, so obviously something did go awry there.
Yeah, he's been in fine form for Adare throughout this 2023 championship. As we mentioned in our prelude to the game, both sides coming in to the final today with unbeaten records, 5 from 5 each in the group stages, and of course semi-final victories. Adare having it much tougher in their extra time win over Father Cases, where Newcastlewest beating Monaleen as Joe Sweeney gets to his feet, indirect free, which Ian Corbett of course became a father again during the week as well, so he's had plenty to celebrate so far ahead of this contest. Corbett again taking a pass from Mike O'Keefe. It's into midfield now in Newcastlewest, going through their process. James Kelly switching play over to Rowan O'Connor on that far side. O'Connor with a bit of space to run into, forced to check back. Good work back there by the Adare number 10, who's Shane Costello. It's Newcastlewest holding on to possession and building from the back.
What's noticeable quite early is that they have 15 players within their own half, so there is no space to walk into. Newcastle's going to have to be patient and prize an opening and be smart with it, and kind of draw them out a small bit, because it'll be hard to get the ball into the lads.
Yeah, very, very diligent in their defensive set in the early doors of this final. It's Mike Quilligan, the recently installed joint manager of the Limerick ladies football team, along with former Limerick goalkeeper Sean Kiley. Gets the ball out to the right again, Mike O'Keefe. Bit of space for Mike to run into. Again, forced to pass that one off, and it's on to O'Keefe again. Off then again once more. Good movement from Brian Nix. Nix plays it along the line. Newcastlewest still in possession, finally breaking in to the Adare 45 before forced backwards again. It's Nix bringing play towards the middle of the park, and a good bit of running from Nix. He's got James Kelly with him. Nix still moves forward with it, looks to go, looks at his options. In the end, hand passes it off, and we may have gotten away with that one. Good pressure from Adare. Good pick up from Thomas Quilligan. Speeds things up. Ian Corbett now chased by Paul Maher and Ronan Connolly, and Adare with the first turnover of the game. Billy rewarded for their hard defensive work.
Yeah, when Brian went in past the 45 there, they pounced and they got bodies around it, and then they swarmed him as well. But that's a good turnover by Ian there again, and quite quickly. And this is what Newcastle need to do: go fast on the counter before Adare can get bodies back.
Mike McMahon plays it back to Ian Corbett. It was Brian Nix who was giving the ball into McMahon. Corbett has a runner on his right hand side, and that is Rowan O'Connor once more. The option of the high ball inside wasn't on as Mike McMahon was making his way back into the square. It's on now and it's played across, but that one's going to drop, and it's going to drop to the right and wide. First wide of the game. Billy kind of half shot, half delivery inside.
Yeah, a bit of with Ian, he's capable of anything, like, you know, but I would have thought at that stage maybe he was putting in a high one just to test it around the conditions with Mike Mack. So look, it's a slow opening in many senses. It's ball going through the hands. Adare set their stall out, and that's been a difficult there. Jack Fitzgerald couldn't see the ball in the sun and lost it, and ball gone over the sideline.
Didn't think we'd be saying that 5 minutes into the game.
Definitely not.
We saw beforehand, but it is Newcastlewest on the run once more. Thomas Quilligan in possession, looking to switch play over to Brian Nix. He's got James Kelly on his left shoulder, opts to hold on to it and play it back into the middle to Emmett Richter. Richter, who had such a good 2022 campaign in Limerick and Munster for Newcastlewest last year, following it on this year for Jimmy Lee's side. And again, it's patient build up, as Billy mentioned. 14 players behind the ball. Only Robbie Burke in the Newcastlewest half thus far. Rowan O'Connor's made a good run. That's James Kelly taking the pass from Nix. He's got Rowan with him. Rowan O'Connor now, another one of the young guns in this Newcastlewest side. Back to Thomas Quilligan. Patience again from the Magpies here as Brian Nix moves on. Robbie Burke getting a touch on him. Brian Nix still going, pushing it back. Didn't need to do it, Robbie Burke. Doesn't matter for Newcastlewest. And a chance for Owen Hurley to open the scoring, Billy.
Yeah, definitely didn't need to make the contact there. And on a day like today, any bit of contact, a player will fall, and it's going to make the referee make a decision when you don't have to. There was 2 or 3 bodies back there, and Robbie probably didn't need to make the tackle.
So Owen Hurley from the 21 metre line. No mistake from Owen Hurley. With 6 minutes on the clock, we have the first score of this 2023 Limerick Senior Football Championship final, and it's gone to the way of Newcastlewest.
It's interesting, I'd say, John, Adare haven't actually got their hands on the ball yet. They had a quick turnover here, but it was quickly taken back off them again by Ian. So I think this is going to be their first reel. If they can just build it, it'll be interesting to see how they work it up the field.
With their full back, and it's David Connolly. Connolly happy to go over to Jack Fitzgerald. Once more, Paul Maher is also around, as is Cian Sparling. It's going to come out all the way. Shane Doherty, such an intelligent footballer, really experienced player on this side, and it's off to Paul Maher now. Adare are on the attack for the first time in this final. It's Maher with 3 players around him, and it's Richter with a fair bit of help back there from James E. Kelly and Brian Nix as well. And it's Nix that has possession. I think in the end it was Owen Hurley that got the vital tackle in that has forced another turnover. It's Newcastlewest now through Thomas Quilligan, switching play yet again over to that far side. And it's Michael O'Leary. In fact, it's not. That's Sean Murphy over on that far side.
What was interesting there when they were going forward, even the referee found it hard to hold his foot, and he wound up slipping, and he wasn't under any pressure, you know. So it just gives people at home a sense of the conditions that the players have to play in. So I expect to see a lot of slipping and ball fumbling possibly, you know.
100% understandable given the conditions. It's bright and sunny now. You can even see on the far side in the north stand the shadows of the floodlights here at the 2 Gaelic grounds. 20 minutes or so ago you couldn't see past the north stand into the Clare Hills, but it is a beautiful afternoon now as Adare trying to move forward once more. It's Adam Kenny trying to win possession if it gets it up at the second attempt. Looking at his options, forced inside again to David Connolly, and Connolly now playing this one off. A bit of room for Joe Sweeney to run into, and Emmett Richter chasing him down. It's good work from Richter though. Fouled, says referee John O'Halloran. And they're trying to move this one quickly with Costello. Shane Costello now off to Jack English. Jack, of course, back in 2017 broke Newcastlewest hearts with a stunning last minute goal that saw Adare to their first ever title at this level. It's another turnover, and Ian Corbett plays this one. Got way too much in it, goes out over the sideline, Billy. It is a scrappy, cagey affair in the opening 8 minutes.
It is indeed, and look, both of Adale's tacks have Paul Margaret turned over here, and Jack English, and look, that's not what you want to be seeing. If you're John Bruder and Pat Donnelly, you know you want to see him. They don't seem to have any depth when they go forward, so they're not breaking the line that Newcastle have set up, and it's going to be very hard to get the ball into the likes of Robbie and Hughie Burke and whoever else is inside there if they can't get bodies ahead of the ball, and I think they need to move it a bit faster, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Throwing ball there after that mistake. It's Adare through Paul Maher that have picked up the loose ball. And now to Cian Sparling. Sparling Moving play past midfield now with a bit of space to run into initially. It's soon closed down. Plays this one back. There's a chance now for Davy Lyons to go forward with it. Davy decides to hold on to it instead of passing off to Jack English. Met now by the challenge of Michael O'Leary, and passes away to Hugh Burke. Back again to Lyons. That's just a little drop. Hughie Burke has it once more in his hands, plays it backwards, and they'll start again with Shane Doherty. Shane heading down the left hand side, needs a bit of support, finds a pass, and there's a bit of movement inside. It's good movement as well. It was from his half-back partner on that occasion, Ronan Connolly. Adare holding on to it well. Newcastlewest again diligent in their defending and forcing Paul Maher back outside his 45. And again, they'll start again with Davy Lyons across to Hugh Burke. Now, Hugh could have a crack from here, be some strike if he can play it on target. Hughie Burke has got an absolutely beautiful score. First one from play. And if you give Hughie that time and space, Billy, he'll do it all day long.
Yeah, fantastic score. You know, in the conditions, play like today, the ball won't go as far as you'd normally kick it, and he kicked that hard from about 44, 43 or 4 metres out. Great score. But what I liked about that is when they attacked, it was a 3 versus 2 for Newcastle on the opposition side, and it was Hugh who came out to block that off. He's a very intelligent footballer, keep all time thinking, all time seeing things, and managed to get on the ball there then. Take a great score.
Big kick out of defence there, and it's Adare that have won the turnover. Once again, Paul Maher very prevalent in the early stages of doing just that. Shane O'Connor delivers inside. It's Robbie Burke this time. Goes down, he's been tripped. Referee John O'Halloran in a good position to see that foul by Brian O'Sullivan. It's his chance for Hughie Burke to double his total. Again, patient from Adare. Won the breaking ball, but this time they moved it in quicker, Billy, and got the awards for it.
Yeah, it was a good ball in by young O'Connor, and Robbie showed well for it. I think the thing you'd be saying to the defenders today is, if you think the opposition I want to win the ball, no contact, because it was a foul, but any little bit of contact today, players are going to lose their footing and they're going to give the referee an easy decision to make. So you need to kind of stand off them a bit. If they win the ball, you just need to defend them from that point of view then, because it's quite difficult. There's going to be a couple of attacks, and in a normal dry conditions you wouldn't expect those to be frees, but in a day like today when players start losing their footing, the referee's going to make the easy call.
It's now Hughie Burke, a few metres away from the edge of the D. Kicks this one, and that one is straight over the bar. Second one for Hughie Burke, second one for Adare, and they lead after 11 and a half minutes by 2 points to 1. It's just a warning for Newcastlewest. If they needed anything from 50 or so metres, Hughie can be very, very dangerous. And Mike Quilligan now ready to take the kick out after that successful free from the Adare marksman.
Adare are pressing the kick out here, so Mike has got to go along.
And goes up for Mike McMahon. It breaks, and McMahon has it in hands. He's immediately surrounded by 4 Adare players, but he's won it and he takes the free quickly. Worked out just about. Handle on the ground as the Adare call from the sideline, but nothing forthcoming. But advantage for Newcastlewest for a foul. McMahon's been fouled again, free in to Newcastle. And again, Big Mac takes it quickly to Brian Nix. Nix switches it. Ian Corbett now. Corbett with a man on him. Bringing play inside the 45. Likes these kind of defence splitting runs so often. Corbett, lovely hand pass off. Shooting chance for Brian Nix to level it. Never really got hold of it, and it's an easy take for Jeffrey Alfred in the Adare goal. It's a free out. He nearly made the old saying would have been Horlicks of it, Billy. He just slipped on the wet surface. We're trying to turn inside. The referee whistle came, and it's 45 was given, but referee John O'Halloran felt that the keeper was fouled as well, so free out for Adare. But you don't want to see your keeper doing things like that.
Today everything needs to be so simple. It's really difficult conditions. I know it's dry at the moment, but handling the ball, you see a lot of fumbling, a lot of players slipping and tripping, so it's got to be very, very simple all the time. The last attack for Newcastle, he made a very incisive run there, and linked well with Brian Nix, but it was a great run from him. I think Andy Newcastle doing well at the moment is coming off of Ian.
It's Adare on the move up front once more with Lyons. Davy Lyons after Adam Kenny. Kenny on the 45, forced to go backwards to Paul Maher, having a bigger influence than maybe most in the opening quarter here. The Adare and Limerick number 7. And it's Adare with possession once more. It's Kenny gets this one away to Shane O'Connor again. The ball coming inside, but they're working the wings more often than not. Ronan Connolly now trying to inject a bit of pace for Adare. Briggs play inside the 14. Good movement from Connolly. May need a bit of help here. Ronan Connolly off his left. This would be a sensational score from Ronan Connolly. Well, You're not going to see too many better scores than that today, Billy.
No, look, you could see the work he's done with the Limerick Colours, the power and the strength to hold himself up, not get knocked off very easily. There was 2 Newcastle players, and off what is his weaker left leg, from a tight angle, he kicked a great score. So, you know, the work that he's done with Limerick Colours has stood up to him there in great stead.
A fantastic finish from Ronan Connolly, and pushing forward in this game so far. More noted maybe in football terms for his defensive work, but it's a turnover here. Newburk has it. Pass off to Robbie off his left to put it there, 3 up, and that's exactly what Robbie Burke has done. 4 points to 1, and Newcastlewest, Billy, are being punished for every little mistake they're making right now.
Yeah, and that's it. It just, Thomas got caught in possession there and dropped it, and quite quickly Keane Span was there to sweep it up and set them on the front foot, and they are very much on the front foot now and bossing the game.
Quick turnaround in this game. It's 4 on the trot, or 3 on the trot for Adare, and they've won another kick out. And it's switched into the hands of Adam Canny. Canny running at the defence, flicks it inside, tried to, but Ian Corbett was there, luckily for Newcastlewest, to divert the danger, and they'll try to come away with it. But again, there's the potential to be another turnover, and it's Keane Sparling in there again, and Sparling has won the loose ball. They're picking up all the pieces at the moment. Adare. Ronan Connolly now, sorry, I should say David Connolly off to Paul Maher. Maher moving forward with the ball in hand. He's met by the challenge there by Aaron Neville, but they break through it, and it's Hughie Burke inside again. It is now David Connolly, well capable of putting these over the bar. Connolly! And it's Ronan and David Connolly in successive scores for Adare, and Billy, they're flying at the moment.
They are indeed. Adare came through and kicked a wonderful score again off his left leg from the far side. James Kelly was sitting back there in front, too deep. He should have come out another 10 yards. When Dave came through, James was there to put pressure on him to kick, but he was too far back. So Newcastle have a bit of work to do. They're struggling on kick-outs. They've lost 2 long kick-outs. They have picked up the breaks, and I think they're getting bodies around Mike Mack when he goes in around it. There's 5 of them coming in around him there now, so they've won pretty much all the breaks that have gone long, and there's another one. So Newcastle's struggling. They need to think differently on their kick-out strategy right now, because they are swamping around Big Mike and young Richter, so it's a challenge for them.
It's a free into Adare as played the man on the ground there. That's a chance now for Jeffrey Alfred coming up. We saw it in the semi-final win over Father Casey's. He can kick them from distance, can the Adare keeper. He's been told to move back now, maybe just that bit far for him. And Ronan Connolly was the man that was fouled. It's Hughie that has it midway between the 45 and 65. You'd imagine it's going to be too long for him, and he takes it short indeed. A chance now for Adare to attack Newcastlewest once more. Paul Maher plays the ball off. It's good interception over there. Maybe Newcastlewest can break with Owen Hurley. If they can move players forward quickly, they should have an advantage. They've been forced, those Owen Hurley. Well, he looked backwards, lost the ball, and it's gone out. Bit of luck for Owen Hurley there. Gone out over the sideline, and it will be a Newcastlewest ball.
That was indicative. Okay, the breeze might be strong, but that's when Newcastle should have really committed 2 or 3 more to the attack, stretched the Adare and given Owen, and Owen had no option, only to kind of slow it down and go sideways, and got swamped there by 3 Adare people, lucky enough to get the Lions ball. But Newcastle have a bit of work to do, I think, just to get bodies ahead of the ball and work harder around the breaks to get possession and start moving at a bit more pace.
That's exactly what they'll try to do now with Ronan O'Connor coming in. After Michael O'Leary intercepted the pass there. Good pick up though from Sean Murphy. Lovely play from Murphy. Needs a bit of help. Finds it eventually. A good pass across now. It's Ronan O'Connor once more. Back it comes to Thomas Quilligan. Thomas off the left. Always looking to try and pop something inside. But again, Adare funneling 2 men back to watch Mike McMahon. And plenty more inside the large rectangle as well, as James Kelly decides to go for it. Anyway, it's in towards McMahon. Breaks it down, does Mike. And it's going to break to an Adare man. And they've won it back again. It's Adam Canny all the way back inside his own 21. And the play comes away with Joe Sweeney, and Sweeney has space for Paul Maher to run into. Finds him with the hand pass too. Maher back into the middle of Jack English. Slick hands from Adare as Shane Doherty and Paul Maher also link up, but it kind of slows down for them as Newcastlewest funnel men back. Bit of space for Keane Sparling now. Sparling eventually going to be met by Emmett Richter. And Richter closes off the avenue. So again, Adam Canny forced to go backwards, indeed sideways to Paul Maher on this occasion. Maher now with a bit of work to do to find a teammate. He's forced to come back to this near side or towards it. And Jack Fitzgerald again back to Maher. Patient from both teams at the moment here, but it's more patience from Adare that they've got the benefit from so far in the opening 18.5 minutes of this. Irish Wire Products Limerick Senior Football Championship final. They lead 5-1. And Billy, Newcastlewest doing their defensive work diligently, making sure that they're struggling to come out of their 45 before that long pass.
Yeah, indeed. I just feel they need to push forward about 4 or 5 yards more. They're dropping off and they have got out to me too easily. They just need to commit 1 or 2 more, and put one fella back in behind the half back, the midfield area. 1 is enough. They have 2 or 3 back there, and it's making it easier. The Newcastle forwards are going to run out of steam when they'll need in the second half, playing with the breeze. There's the amount of work they're doing to try and slow it down. So we need to commit in 1 or 2 more balls to make it harder for Adare to come out.
It's another free in for Adare, and Hughie Burke will certainly fancy this one. A few metres inside the Newcastlewest 45. He's been perfect with his 3 shots so far as Hughie. 2 shots, I should say. 1 from a free and 1 from play. So point number 3 on the offing for the Adare number 14. And put them 6-1 up if he can nail it. And Hughie has struck that one absolutely perfectly. Adare really flying as we hit the 20-minute mark here, Billy. And Newcastle, if they're not careful here, could find this game maybe a little bit away from them.
Yeah, next 10 minutes to half time and whatever injury time John O'Halloran will play it. The next score becomes very important. Newcastle need to tag on a score quite quickly. They scored in the first 3 minutes, and there's 19 minutes gone. They've had enough possession. They just really need to attack the game a bit harder. Those bodies, they are getting bodies back, working a bit harder around the break of the ball. So we've got to up it a small bit, Yeah,
they've won the break there, and it's a foul on Sean Murphy. No, it isn't Dean Corbett, that's down. No, apologies, it is Sean. Yeah, it is Sean. He in with ball in hand, just talking to James Kelly. There is a yellow card. Yes, Cian Sparling. It wasn't the initial foul, it was kind of caught him. As Sean Murphy was going to ground from the tug, Cian kind of maybe call it a cheap shot, call it not, but it's a yellow card either way for Cian Sparling.
It's a yellow card. It's no more than that. He went to make a shoulder, just got a bit high. No malice in the challenge, absolutely. No intent. So yellow card, and that's it. Get on with it.
Exactly. It's Newcastlewest now. Mike O'Keefe back to James Kelly once more. Kelly has a free man. That man is Michael O'Leary, in wearing number 17 from the start. Gets this pass away. Chance now, and it's just not really happening for Newcastlewest. They're bringing ball into tackle.
We're not getting deep enough when we attack. There's 2 living in front of the square, and there's no one in the corner forward positions to stretch Adare and create space in front of the goals that we can run into, and it's making it very hard to break it down as a consequence.
Adare's defensive system working very well. This time there's a foul by Davy Lyons and James E. Kelly. Kelly will leave, and the chance the call comes up for Mike Quilligan. And a bit of tactics involved. That little bit far for Owen Hurley. And Owen Hurley and Robbie Burke's just using his experience there, just trying to upset Owen Hurley a little bit. And it's Mike Quilligan coming all the way up. Mike, believe, well capable of putting something like that over there. Doesn't need to now because it's been brought forward. Maybe that little intervention by Robbie Burke has made this an easier free for Newcastle.
Yeah, and it certainly made it easier. It's still, it's important he keeps his feet to be able to strike that ball properly. Any free is not easy now in the conditions. Hughie's kicked 1 or 2 great ones for Adare, so hopefully Owen can do it for Newcastle as well.
Owen has not hit that one at all. Well, he hit it fairly well, but you know what I mean when you saw it. The accuracy looked to be missing for just a moment, but the white flag was raised, and Billy, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and that's it. Look, I think Newcastle needed that. I just think that they are really on top at the moment, very organised, and they're going forward at pace when they need to, and then they're putting it through the hands when they need to as well. So they're on top at the moment for sure.
This one breaks Newcastlewest way once more. Sean Murphy now in possession. Plays it over to that right hand side. There's a bit of space there as Thomas Quilligan takes the ball and moves it across field, switches play. It's a good ball across Emmett Richter. Newcastlewest will want to see Emmett Richter on the ball that bit more. Plays a good ball inside now, and it is Owen Hurley does well to keep it in play. Brian Nix does. Nix under pressure, he just couldn't get the ball into his hand, and it's picked up. Good play from Joe Sweeney. He's been fouled. A free out for it there.
Really good defending there by the defender. Really, really good.
Cian Sparling with the free, doesn't know where he's going to take it. No real options for him. Eventually goes short enough. That's not a good ball, and it's worked out for Newcastlewest. Bit of space to run into. There's a bit of space inside now if they can get it in there. It's Mike McMahon has the shot. McMahon, by break it has! And on it, it's a goal for Newcastlewest. Well, it was a missed kick from Mike McMahon, the man who's got it. I think it's Owen Hurley that got the hand to it in the end. And Billy, that's just exactly what Newcastlewest needed.
Absolutely. On days like today, a score like that can change the course of events. It was fortuitous. Mike was definitely going for a point. And look, it just shows you never give up in the cause, and Owen didn't. And you make your own look, and he certainly did it. And it's given Newcastle the right foothold in the game, which you'd have to say with 25 minutes almost gone, Adare were certainly 2 to 3 points a better team, but it just shows you in a game like today anything can happen in around the box. But Newcastle seem to have pressed a bit more, and they've turned over the last 3 attacks that they have had, so they're pressing a bit more, which is making it very hard for Adare to get out.
And before that, Billy, with the free that Keane Sparling took, he'd no option.
Correct.
Everyone did pushed up on everyone. A mistake came as a result, and the goal came from it. Maybe there's been a luck involved, but as you said in the prelude game, you make your own luck in life and in sport as well.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what Owen Hurley did.
I think they must. I don't know. I haven't seen what are the instructions about to push on a small, but Newcastle seem to be pushing higher up the field to make it more difficult for Adare to come out, and they've had a number of turnovers there as a rising and got a point and a goal from it. So it's about, you can't back off, you can't make it easy for the opposition to come down the field, because then you've got to be very disciplined, and in conditions like this, that's not easy.
Indeed, it's not. As Shane Doherty offloads Sir Robbie Burke, and Shane O'Connor now in possession for John Bruder and Pat Donnelly's side, inside to Jack English. English now bringing play inside the Newcastlewest territory before it comes back again to Shane O'Connor, and switch of play by Shane over to Joe Sweeney, and Sweeney has a bit of space. He's a big man but can certainly go through the phases as well of space, but he's over carried according to the referee John O'Halloran, and there just seems to be a little bit of a spark in Newcastlewest the last 5 minutes. Definitely
Adare find it very difficult to penetrate, and they've turned over the ball, carrying the contact Adare having, or Newcastle have taken it off them. So the last, I suppose, 4 to 5 minutes have been crucial from a Newcastle perspective for them to get a foothold in the game. So I suppose it's just for Adare now to settle themselves again and get back at it and go back to doing what they were doing, and continue the journey, but just speed it up a small bit, I'd say.
Sean Murphy has been fouled. Another chance for Newcastlewest to launch an attack. Ian Corbett with ball in hand, scanning his options in front of him. It'll be a short one to Michael O'Leary. O'Leary now looking forward, plays it inside, beats the +1 back there from Adare's point of view, and it was Shane Doherty. Owen Hurley moving forward with it, trying to move forward. Michael O'Leary has done well to keep possession in there. Aaron Neville can't win it, though. It's a good win back there by Adare, and it's Jack English with an ocean of space to run into. Soon chased down by Emmett Richter. Left-footed delivery inside from English. Great defending from Darren O'Doherty back there. Excellent work from O'Doherty. Although he's forced to turn it over, and it's Adare have it once more on that far side. Lovely ball inside to Sweeney. Sweeney opts not to pick the ball up straight away and could give Mike O'Keefe a chance to put the pressure on. Sweeney's on the ground. He's not going to be let up easy, and Newcastlewest have turned the ball over, and it's exactly what you want to see from the likes of Mike O'Keefe, who's made a career with Newcastlewest from doing things like that defensively.
Absolutely. I just think down the heart he got the initial interception and hit Huey there, and that was great defending, because Huey turned his body to shepherd the ball, and he was gone inside down if he got his hands in it, but great defending, and that just killed the momentum of Adare's attack. They did get the ball back, but then Newcastle had bodies back. So Newcastle have upped it in the last 7 or 8 minutes, and they needed to, but they have. So now it's going to be nip and tuck right to the finish, I think.
It's Brian Nix now taking on his opposite number. Good diligent defending though from Davy Lyons, which forces Nix inside, and it's in towards the likes of Shane Costello and a couple of more Adare defenders. That one's breaking again though. This time Ronan Connolly is back there for Adare and diverts the danger as Jeffrey Alfred plays this one out to Jack Fitzgerald. Good ball from Jack. Has Paul Maher now with a bit of space to run into Maher. Looking at his options in front, plays one in towards Robbie Burke. Robbie has it. 2 players quickly diverge on him, and it's good diligent defending from Brian O'Sullivan that forces it back to Jack English. English moving towards the D, has it on the left. Jack will fancy this from long range. Jack has struck it, and Jack has sent that over the bar. Well, Billy, you said it there, probably need a lift. They got it with that score. Lovely stuff from Jack.
Yeah, super score. I know it started with Jack Fitzgerald inside in the corner. Alfred gave it to him, and he picked out a great pass here to, I think it was Paul Maher. Cut out 3 or 4 Newcastle players and got the ball moving before Newcastle could get back and swamp Adare. Fantastic score by Adare.
Indeed, it is first of the day for Jack English, has put Adare 7 points to 1-2 in front as we hit the closing stages of the opening half in the Irish Weather Products Limerick Senior Football Championship final. And it is a 2-point lead for them right now. Tried to take that one quickly. Our referee John O'Halloran correctly. The ball wasn't, or the free wasn't taken from the correct spot. So that one was also always going to be brought back despite the protestations of Davy Lyons and a couple of more on the Adare side. But it's Hughie Burke. Ball in hand now. Jeffrey Alfred is interested in it. He's now making a run to the left hand side and will take possession now. Will the Adare goalkeeper, of course, becoming such a trend in modern football now, as Mike Sexton, the fourth official, sees to the crowd with the board that 2 minutes, a minimum of 2 minutes of additional time will be played at the end of this first half.
Yeah, I don't know about the goalie coming out all the time. It's certainly a modern trend set, I suppose, by a lot of teams in the north. It has the advantages of time. Once, I suppose, the player knows what he's doing, it's not just coming out for the sake of coming out because he sees other goalies coming out. It's got to be with purpose, and you've got to be comfortable in the ball in that area, because many times it can be turned over, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, we've seen it happen many times as well, as they're trying to finish this half with a bit of a flourish here. Ronan Connolly needs a bit of help, does Ronan, and Ops, as we go back to the aforementioned Jeffrey Alfred. Ball doesn't bounce from, but Jeffrey is fairly, well, he's usually so good on a ball. Now it's Ian Corbett with the interception. There's 2 on 1 if he can get it across. He does to Sean Murphy, Owen Hurley in space. Big moment in the game. It's Hurley! Buries it for Newcastlewest. Well, moments ago we mentioned it can go horribly wrong for keepers, and that's exactly what happened to Jeffrey Alfred. Newcastle use the extra man, and it's Owen Hurley with a second goal of the first half. Billy, a huge moment in the game.
Sure, a huge moment, and sure, they'll be really kicking themselves. You know, it was a game they shouldn't have lost, and Newcastle had a 3-2 advantage then and worked it well. You know, you don't mess around with the ball when you see the likes of Ian Corbett closing down you know, and that's what they did, and they got the ultimate punishment. And you know, 10 minutes ago, I think Newcastle were down 6 points to 1, and all of a sudden they're a point up, you know. And at that time you couldn't really see that happening, but I think we made 1 goal out of fortuitous with Owen, and that was Dare's undoing. And this is going to be killers right in the bones at the door at half time. So how would they respond to this now? You know, I see a lot of heads and they're walking around circles there, and they're just wondering. This is a key couple of minutes now. If they could get a score, it'll settle them just before half time, and they'd probably need that, because they've made it easy for Newcastle in the last 10 minutes, you know.
And Newcastle, Billy, they're not the type of team that if you give them a sniff of something, they'll eat you all up, all over it. And that's what Adare have done, dominating for large parts. You'd argue 15 of the opening 20 minutes were all Adare's. And whatever since Owen Hurley's first goal, it's been Newcastlewest that have been in the ascendancy, and goals win matches. They certainly do in finals. And it's Adare now that are all of a sudden, with a strong breeze in their favour in this first half. They're a point down as Paul Maher's fouled on that far side, and they're going to take it quickly into the middle to Jack English. 10 seconds left of the half. If it stays to the 2 minutes, it's another turnover by Brian Nix, and Nix now, he's in no hurry to take that one. Does eventually find his man with it. It's Aaron Neville playing this one off to Michael O'Leary. O'Leary going forward. Indeed, it was Owen Hurley, the 2-goal hero, that plays it off to O'Leary. They've run down a bit of a dark alley here with a Rowan O'Connor did. That will be the half-time whistle here at the Two Scaelic Grounds, where those 2 goals for Newcastlewest and Owen Hurley see them into a 2-2 to 7-point half-time lead. Billy, your first half thoughts?
Yeah, look, I think in the main you would say that they were more cohesive after a kind of a slow, maybe 4 to 5 minutes of a start, and they got a really grips of the game, and they went 6 points to 1 up, playing really all the football. Newcastle was struggling. If you go back to it, we got the Owen Hurley ball was moved in. They made it very easy for Newcastle to kick a ball, made a difficult free very easy. Got that. Minutes later, got a fortuitous goal where, you know, Mike was going for a point. Owen got a hand in it and deflected in past young Alfred, and then the goal. Like, so, you know, a lot of it's been contributing to Adare contributed to Newcastle going a point in up. But if you look at the scoreboard, it's 7 points to 4, some scores to 4, and that just kind of tells you about Adare's kind of dominance. But they've undone themselves somewhat. So a big half time for John and Pat and the Adare team. Newcastle will be bouncing. They have a concern with Ian Corbett, whether his hamstring is at him or not. He went down there after that last one, so that would be a concern. You know, if you get another 10-15 minutes out of him, you know, it's up to the other lads then to step it up. So it's going to be interesting, 2 key half-time talks and how both sets of players respond to it. Adare will be disappointed, and rightly so. because overall they were the better team in the first half. But look, they've got work to do now, and they've got to just keep cool, calm heads and go at it again, and believe that what they were doing in the first half, they can do it again for the second half.
Thoughts of Billy Lee there as we hit half time here at the Gaelic grounds. We're in the Irish Wire Products Limerick Senior Football Championship final. Newcastlewest lead Adare to break by 2-2 to 7 points. Join us for the second half shortly. Welcome back to the two Gaelic rounds for the second half of the Irish Wire Products Limerick Senior Football Championship Final, where Newcastlewest leaded there 2-2 to 7 points at the end of that first half. Former Limerick manager Billy Lee joins me again for the second half. Billy, talking off air, you know, you mentioned that just before we went off for the halftime break, 7 scores to 4 in Adare's favour. Kind of tells you where the first half was, but those 2 goals, we'll know later on in half an hour's time or thereabouts whether they were killer blows or not, but they're certainly dents into the armour of Adare, I should say.
Yeah, look, it's a big test for them now. You know, there's a lot of experience in that Adare team. You know, a team have won 2 or 3 championships, so I imagine they should be able to mentally overcome that and go at it. Now, they're playing against the elements. They're reasonably strong enough without being very, very strong, and so the next 10 minutes is really going to be important, and trying to avoid giving away a score from their perspective and settle themselves into it. The one thing in it is that Ian Corbett is heavily strapped now as he come out in the second half. He's playing wing, he's moved into wing forward, so that'll be interesting to see. He's a big cog in Newcastle's wheels, as everyone knows. So we'll see how he manages, and if he has to go, what they have to do in it. So still a lot to play for.
Indeed there is Adare with Ronan Connolly winning the break from the throw-in by referee John O'Halloran. Paul Maher now in possession. Plays it off to Keane Sparling. Sparling, good disposition by Sean Murphy on that occasion, but Adare managed to pick up the loose one. And Shane Doherty with the ball, maybe looking to build his side back into this game. The only advantage they have, it is only a 1-point deficit that they face, and they played a lot of the good football in that first half, as Davy Lyons now 2 or 3 Newcastlewest defenders. He has the advantage, but plays away anyway. Off to Adam Kenny. Kenny trying to get a bit of space. Nothing forthcoming from Brian O'Sullivan. Good defensive work from the Newcastle number 7. It's back to Ronan Connolly. A little 1-2 with Kenny, and it's off to Paul Maher. Just didn't hang on to that one properly. Lovely from Connolly to Kenny. Maybe a bit of space opening up here for Adare. It's a big challenge there by James Kelly on Shane O'Connor. And well, he may take a yellow card for James Kelly here, but Billy, there may have been more danger inside if he hadn't done it. Yeah, a smart tackle from James, but if I'm looking at it from a Adare perspective, that's a real good movement to the ball, real control. And if we want to understand what was said at half time, we just saw it in that play. Composed, moved the ball well in tight areas. Ronan Connolly was key to a bit of that, along with Davy Lyons, and you know, you'd expect Hughie to chip this over. So look, a real good score on the assumption he'll kick it over the bar from Adare, and you know, I think that really settled him into it now again. So Hughie Burke levels the game for the first time since the opening throw-in from referee John O'Halloran. So 2 to 8 points, and just what Adare would have looked for at the start of the second half. Some positive play that led to the free from Hughie Burke, and another score for him, the 4th of the afternoon for the Adare full forward. And as Mike Quilligan goes long again, aiming once more towards Mike McMahon. McMahon breaks it, ball on the ground now. It's Adare there first. Battle for possession on the ground now. Could end up in the throw-in. It ends up instead in Robbie Burke's hands. Robbie back to Joe Sweeney. And it's Shane Doherty now as Adare, but it's a poor one from Shane Doherty. Big mistake from him, and their mistakes have been punished throughout this game. Blind Nick's on the run now. Maybe another goal chance! Another finish brilliantly to the net. And it's a goal. A 3rd goal for Newcastlewest. And well, every punishable mistake has been done to the nth degree by Newcastlewest. 3rd goal for Newcastle, first for Brian Nix. Great finish. You know, terrible pass out by one of the other defenders. Ian Corbett was onto it. Everything that's good has come from Newcastle. The big scores are coming through Ian. He's seen the danger. He's snuffing it out and setting Newcastle on the front foot. And that's just a killer for Adare again. Yeah. It's another goal for Newcastlewest, and any mistake, it was Shane Doherty on that occasion, their vastly experienced captain, just didn't get the hand pass right at all, and Corbett was onto it. Even with that heavily strapped hamstring, he's able to create, and that's going to be moved forward to Darren Doherty, not letting Adare take that one as quickly as they wanted, and a chance for Hughie Burke to get a much needed response for Adare. Yeah, a good response if they can kick this over the bar. It's your ideal response to a killer goal like that against them, you know. So it's Burke, a couple of metres outside the 21. Strikes that one brilliantly again, does Hughie Burke, and it's 3-2 to 9 points in favour of Newcastlewest, and a much needed response immediately after that goal from Brian Nix. And it's a fifth of the game for Huey. And play will restart with Mike Quilligan looking, you'd imagine, long again as Adare continue to push up on the Newcastlewest kick out. Good strike from Quiggs. Jack English with a good take, takes the mark as well. English trying to inject a bit of pace as quickly as he can, gets the pass away to Keane Sparling. He's only got one player in front of him, Sparling, so he moves inside once more. Davy Lyons, good turn away from Rowan O'Connor, and Lyons still in possession. Off to Sparling again, little short pass to Costello, well worked from Adare here. It's Davy Lyons with the shot. Davy Lyons blocked down, it's a good block down as well. Just a hand to it on by Brian O'Sullivan of 45 will result to Adare.
Yeah, good move again by Adare. I thought maybe Davy Lyons might have been in for goal, but great blocker, recovering tackle from Brian Sullivan. What is interesting, John, is that Newcastle have gone long for pretty much most of their kickouts bar one. And in my notes here, they've lost 6 long kickouts. So they are really bossing around the middle of the field. They're going short in their own kickouts. So ultimately, they are bossing possession. If you look at the scoreboard, it's 9 scores to 5. And you could say that they have handed 2 goals to Newcastlewest. So it's kind of telling you the story of the game, that they are controlling possession. Just a couple of mistakes here and there. So if they stick at it, they'll get opportunities.
Jeff Alfred takes that one, strikes it well, it's bouncing. Mike Quilligan takes it at the second attempt. It was a good strike from Jeffrey Alfred, but Newcastlewest have managed to hold on to it, and Adare are pressing up and they forced the turnover. But referee John O'Halloran adjudges that James Kelly was fouled as he hand passed the ball away. And no better man than Jamesy to slow it all down once more. Chance for Newcastlewest to clear their lines. Breaking plays, Jamesy gets a bit of attention as well.
You look at it and you think, young Alfred, a good strike of the ball, and just that inches, you're just talking about 1 or 2 inches, that ball's going over the bar. And if you're on their support, you're thinking, God, is everything going against us, and small margins at the moment. But if they keep working at it and keep working and keep believing, the chances will keep coming, and that's the key to it now.
It's Newcastlewest in possession. Paul Maher with a good challenge, and a second one up on Emmett Richter. Legal though, says referee John O'Halloran. Newcastlewest have the advantage. Sean Murphy, quick offload from him to Rowan O'Connor on that far side. Lovely play from Newcastlewest, and it's Murphy now as options inside. One of them is Michael O'Leary, plays that one across. It's Aaron Neville coming back inside. It's Michael O'Leary off the left now. O'Leary sends it between the posts. Well, he's only the 3rd scorer for Newcastlewest this afternoon. And again, Billy, it was a slick move. Once they got it through the hands, they were able to advance up the field very, very quickly. Yeah, they created overload on the far side, and a great point by Michael O'Leary after his so-called weaker leg. And there has been some good scores being kicked by both teams. And considering the conditions and the underfoot conditions for Dave Connolly's done one, Ronan Connolly's done one, Michael O'Leary's done one. Hughie's kicked a couple of good scores. The 2 goals were great finishes. So the quality of the finishing has been pretty good. High quality football final here at the senior level as Brian Nix, goal scorer in the second half for Newcastlewest. Chased down by Hughie Burke, but hand on the jersey, a little tug. It's another free for Newcastlewest. Over on the far sideline. And again, even with what Billy, a 3-point lead, it's Newcastlewest that so many times over recent years, certainly when they get into a lead, they're a very difficult team to break down.
Indeed, and that's it. And I'd say they know that as well. So look, they need to get a couple of scores to try and make it a game where it keeps Newcastle honest and let's come out and play. But if Newcastle get the next score, go 4 up, it's going to be hard for them to stop breaking them down then, because Newcastle will keep the ball, recycle it, and they're masters at that at this stage. They've gone through the mill a couple of years, with this, and they're good at it.
And no question, going for title number 3 in a row. The Townies, as they like to be called, or don't like to be called. I might get a little slap now for saying something like that up here,
no,
but
we don't
joking aside.
We don't mind being called Townies since we're carrying home cups.
Back with play. Played backwards towards Mike O'Keefe, who switches it across to Darren O'Doherty. One thing Jimmy Lee and his backroom team won't want to see the 2 of them playing around too much with the ball, but plenty of distance away from goal though, so he's happy enough to see James Kelly in possession. Kelly now moving forward, has options in front. It's Nix once more, Brian Nix. A little wrestling on the ground here. It's going to be a free to Newcastlewest. Well, it was Owen Costello, Shane Costello, I should say, jostling with James Kelly, and I think maybe Jamesy initiated the contact himself. Shane Costello shouldn't have got involved. It ends up in a free to Newcastlewest, and Jamesy, showing all the experience in the world, knew exactly what he was at.
Indeed, it's a harsh one, I think. It's a harsh one. Newcastle had gone on. It didn't stop the momentum of what Newcastle were doing. They still had the play. It's one of those tight calls. Like, it just, all these tight calls, these are just going against the Dale at the moment, and it's difficult for them. They just got to keep at it. They got to keep at it. Newcastle could punish them here, and Julie do.
Yeah, the strike comes in from Owen Hurley. That's 2-3 for Owen Hurley this afternoon, having a super game. Despite his scores, he's been very prominent in attack for Newcastlewest, but Adare can't afford, even though it was a bit harsh, but to engage like that, Billy. You just got to.
Yeah, James, as you say, is a master in that area. He's a wily old head, and James is, what people might know, James is a brilliant reader of the game and a brilliant footballer, and reads it very well. And Newcastle haven't half the team without him at centre back, and that's been proven over the years. And really good footballer, an entertaining character on and off the field, but
he's
really
one good one to their team every day of the week.
Yeah, and people underestimate him. There are all sorts of names for him, but he's a really, really good footballer, a smart footballer, great brain on him.
3-4 now to Newcastlewest, to Adare's 9 points, a 4-point lead for Jimmy Lee's side as Cian Sparling's put under pressure again. Gets a little flick in it, two Newcastlewest defenders there, but Shane Doherty's picked it up for his Adare side, and he's been fouled, and Davy Lyons gets us back underway quickly as the rain begins to team down again here at the two Scaly Crowns. It's Davy Lyons on the run, and Jack English, well, Owen Hurley, I just said moments ago he was having a good game outside of his scoring. He's drawn a foul from Jack English, and this is what Adare can't get drawn into, Billy. They have to concentrate on getting back into the game.
Yeah, that's them. They were on the attack. There wasn't a need for it. It was petulance of some sorts, and that's a sign that you're feeling the pressure, you're feeling the heat, you're trying to recover the game. You're 4 points down. It's his teammates won't be happy with him.
Needless enough on seeing it on the replay there. You can see he dragged Owen Hurley down to the ground as James Kelly takes this one. It's gone out over the sideline, last touched. The Newcastlewest man, according to Donegal O'Callaghan, down in front of us here. It's going to be a sideline ball through there as Jack English plays into the middle quickly. Paul Maher is his target, and it's Maher now, who Newcastlewest have managed to curb as well. He was having a big influence in the opening quarter. Not so much since, as Ronan Connolly now brings play back into the middle, over the halfway mark to Shane Doherty, their captain, trying to move play into the Newcastlewest territory. Now it's Shane Costello off to English. We've seen that Jack English can strike from long range, but it's a turnover, and it's Brian Nix and Ian Corbett with it, as Billy Lee mentioned, a heavily strapped hamstring that he picked up when the second goal happened. Lovely left-footed pass. Paul Maher comes in and just diverts the ball away from Michael O'Leary, and Adare have another turnover, and it's Ronan Connolly as the rain begins to fall even heavier as it was a couple of minutes ago. And Paul Maher in possession, goes long with it. Chance for that one to break, and there is Mike O'Keefe. Typical Mike O'Keefe, reading the game very, very well. Ball in towards Robbie Burke, and it's defended well by Newcastlewest, and it's Rowan O'Connor who, coming away with possession, does well to beat his man and is fouled in the process. And Billy, Newcastlewest, we mentioned it moments ago, but this game is starting to develop a bit of a trend where Newcastlewest, we have a 4-point lead. It's up to you now to try and take it away from us.
And that's what's happening. Newcastle are kind of sitting back inside, between the 65 and 45 on the defensive side, and waiting for the Dale and just pouncing at the right time, turning the ball over. And but look, Dale got to keep at it. I just feel at times that there's the opportunity to move that ball to a spare man a quicker. They don't, and then when they do try to do it, it's very tight, and it's making it easy for Newcastle to intercept and turn it over.
A bit of a mountain to climb for Adare as we played 13 minutes of the second half of this Irish Wire Products Limerick Senior Football Championship final, where Newcastlewest are leading 3-4 to 9 points. Mike McMahon gets a pass away to O'Connor backwards. He didn't look where he was going with that, And Paul Maher is there to turn the ball over. Ronan Connolly, he's even hasn't got to. Mike O'Keefe comes in, got the ball, says referee John O'Halloran, gets it for a second time. But David Connolly is there for Adare. He picks up the loose one. Big challenge there on Shane Doherty, but play continues with Adare having an advantage. On the run now is Adam Kenny. Kenny forced to come inside to Paul Maher. Maher now assessing his options, plays it to Shane Costello. Costello's Hughie Burke really only in a position in front of him. Another foul, an advantage accruing here to Newcastlewest, and Hughie Burke has also been fouled by Mike O'Keefe, so it'll be a free that isn't taken from the correct position again. In fairness to the referee, he's been very stringent on it. If it isn't taken, substitution to happen as well, so maybe that's why it was called back. As Adare bring Josh Toomey onto the field. It's the end of the day for Jack English, and the first substitute of this afternoon's game is going to be for Adare. So Josh Toomey for Jack English, first sub of the game.
Yeah, I suppose they were quite unlucky there. You know, Hughie made the right decision. Now whether the young lad got in for goal or not, I'm not sure. But
it's Jeffrey Alfred strikes that, and this time he has enough distance in a 3-point game again. Good strike from the Adare goalkeeper.
Yeah, good strike. And I suppose it's what was it, 40 metres out, so probably that's the distance. He was just an inch or two short at maybe 45 metres, so that kind of gives Adare sight of what they need to do. Ian Corbett's coming out now, so this will be significant, because I think everything has gone through him really well, and he's given Newcastle a lot of momentum. Goal, second goal, third goal, key players, Eamon's behind them all, so we'll see what happens now.
It's a tough one, plenty of experience coming on with Seamus Hurley onto the field. And there's another one for Adare as well here, and that is Willie Griffin, who made a big impact against Father Casey's in the semi-finals. He's on for Adam Kenny. Disappointing afternoon for Adam Kenny, who's had a fine championship for Adare throughout, but his afternoon is over as well. So Willie Griffin for Adam Kenny, and Seamus Hurley on for Ian Corbett on Newcastlewest side, as Newcastlewest win a free from the kick-out. Jamesy Kelly takes it fairly quickly and into space, and down there for Newcastlewest is Owen Hurley. Hurley looking to find Seamus immediately after coming on. Not the best of passes though, and Adare have turned it over, and Newcastlewest can't afford to get sloppy. That's what the message coming in will be, and they've taken this free quickly as well, have Adare.
Adare are working hard, John, and for me they're just getting a little couple of turnovers now in key areas. That's giving them a bit of momentum, and they've been working hard. But it's nothing we come to expect of it. They're a fine team, working hard, and they're getting the little key turnovers. If they can get scores off them, it's going to go right down to the wire.
Indeed it is. It's Shane O'Doherty. You can see the dander is up a little bit as Willie Griffin. This one goes into him. He doesn't even look for the free, just couldn't control the ball, and it's going to be a free out one on that far side by Mike O'Keefe, by Darren O'Doherty I should say. And again, in no hurry to take it as Darren goes short to Mike O'Keefe. As the rain again even gets stronger again. It's very, very tricky conditions out there now. But it's navigated up towards Seamus Hurley. Impact immediately from him. And away they go now. And Emma Richter with space to run into here for Newcastlewest. Plays it inside. And it's on the run. Newcastlewest still moving forward with it. Mike McMahon from long range strikes it. Does Mike. Drops into the hands of Jeffrey Alfred. Maybe had other options available. Distance in this rain was going to be tricky for Big Mike on that occasion, and it didn't work out, as Paul Maher now has plenty of space to run into. Jamesy Kelly comes out to half engage him. They've men on the right hand side. Maher slow in getting it over, and kind of space has gone, but they move it now to Shane Costello. Costello looking for a bit of help, ran into a dark alley there of two Newcastlewest defenders, and Jamesy Kelly then, he was coming out with the ball. Shane Costello went to challenge him, and it's been adjudged to have been charging from Jamesy. He's not happy with it, but he'll move away.
Yeah, and I think it's the right call. What was very interesting there, Paul Maher attacking there. Hughie made a run, pass was on, didn't give it. Different passes on, and they were fortunate there afterwards that James made the wrong decision in charging to give him what is a really scoreable free, and you'd expect Hughie to put it over. So it's really getting tight. Mike maybe, the last shot, maybe just to hold it. Newcastle put a good move together going forward, put it through the hands. Young Richter, Michael O'Leary, and just a bit tired in these conditions. It's difficult to kick it from far out.
Yeah, and that's the end of James E. Kelly's afternoon, as well as Stephen Brosnan comes in, a vastly experienced player as well, of course, in the Newcastlewest setup. But it's Uwe Park with this opportunity to make it a 2-point game, and that's exactly what Uwe has done. So it's the 6th of the afternoon for Uwe Burke. That's a vital score as well.
Indeed, it's where we expected. It's going to go down to a one-score game again, and it's not what we're used to with these two teams. And
there's always very little between them, Billy. Exactly.
The kick-out's going to be crucial, and Adare are winning all the long kick-outs.
Yeah, and it's broken down again to Ronan Connolly, and it's Connolly wins a free. And Adare really with a bit of momentum right now in their play. It's Paul Maher.
They've worked themselves into it. They've worked hard off the ball, trying to get turnovers, and they've got the turnovers. They had bodies at the right place where the ball broke through twos and threes around the break, and so they've earned their keep to be in this position. It's what they do with the ball now, is they continue to attack and how they use it. Newcastle are going to have to defend resolutely, but we know that they're capable of doing that as well.
And Jeffrey Alfred's moving forward after Jack Fitzgerald was fouled, so it's another chance for Adare to reduce Newcastlewest lead even further as Jack Fitzgerald gets a bit of attention.
Yeah, and it looks like Sean Murphy is picking up a yellow card as well. And these cards at this stage in the game now, just you have to be more disciplined in your tackling. You've got to be more careful, and it just makes it harder when you want to try and make tackles. That if a fella attacks you, he gets by you. So
gone short with it. No need for Alfred. Ronan Connolly's on the hunt for his second score of the game. He's barreling his way through. Did very, very well without much help around him. And eventually he was crowded out as Brian Nix comes away and wins a free. Could be a vital free for Newcastlewest as well.
Yeah, look, Connolly was looking to get in that deep. He was on the verge of overcarrying it a couple of times. He got the break from the referee. Newcastle got bodies around the ball and broke, and definitely a free out.
There's a man down as well for Adare.
It's Ronan Connolly.
It's Ronan Connolly who did so well to hold on to the ball under the severe pressure, but just found no help in the end. And as you see it back on the replay here, 3-4, 5-6 Newcastlewest defenders. It took to dismantle his run and stop him from moving even further on with the ball, but it does end up in a free out to Newcastlewest, and Connolly slowly getting back onto his feet. I don't think it's going to take a lot more than a knock for Ronan Connolly to be leaving proceedings here, you'd imagine.
Absolutely.
It's Seamus Hurley with ball in hand now for Newcastlewest. Goes long with it to Seamus. It's a good ball too towards Brian Nix. Blatant push on the back. You can have no argument with that.
Jack Fitz used his upper body rather than putting his hands in his back. Just definitely edged into him, but it's minute. I think the conditions, in dry conditions, that would have been great defending. But look, Newcastle will be thankful of the free, give him a bit of respite and try and work a score.
It's Brian Nix and Fitzgerald at it again. Nix plays it into the edge of the square towards Mike McMahon. It took a deflection off David Connolly off his back heel. Nearly went in. If Jeffrey Alfred wasn't alert, could have been another calamity for Adare in defence. Hasn't worked out that way. It was a dangerous ball in from Brian Nix, especially with Mike McMahon in around the edge of that square.
Mike's size, he frightens
defences. It doesn't have to be a high ball either, Billy.
No, just
he uses his size.
He's used his size. He's been really effective, and it's a long time since we've seen such an effective footballer at full forward in Limerick football scene. And Mike's been really, really effective over the years, and teams have had to do something out of the ordinary to try and curb him. And he gives Newcastle the option of coming out from kick-outs late in the game with his height and his capability of catching ball out of the air. So he's been a key to Newcastle for the last number of years. But that ball could have got anywhere. It just shows you and the conditions, because it's raining now again.
It's Adare now trying to make this a 1-point game again. 3-4 to 11 points. We've played nearly 53 minutes of this Limerick Senior Football Championship final. It's David Connolly on the move for Adare. Plays it up towards Davy Lyons. Lyons forced backwards by Stephen Brosnan, but for turning for a bit of help. And he finds it now, as we're going to see Lee Wolfe introduced fairly quickly and fairly soon by Newcastlewest. A very talented youngster. One of many within this panel that Jimmy Lee has at his disposal. He's the next man in for Newcastlewest point of view, as Paul Maher again finds David Connolly out on this left hand side, near side. As you see from right to left on screen here at the two Gaelic grounds, Connolly bringing play in towards the middle after Ronan. His brother Ronan Connolly shimmies and goes past a couple of players, but maybe took too much on. Danger hasn't been averted yet. Stephen Brosnan has it in his hand. He's looking for a bit of help, maybe looking for a free as well, but Newcastlewest haven't been able to get it out of their outside their 14 metre line. Willie Griffin now has been forced backwards as well, and Paul Maher's going to be the same. It's good defending in the end from Newcastlewest as Adare will restart the attack on the 45 metre line. Jeffrey Alfred is miles out of his goal inside the Newcastlewest 65, and Billy Adare had 2 men over if they could have got it quick.
Yeah, it's just a vision to see that. Like, if you look at it now, there's 28 players inside the Newcastlewest 45 metre line, so it's going to be really hard for them to kick a score.
And that ball from Shane O'Connor has gone high, very high indeed. It's punched at, and back there is a Newcastlewest man. I think it was Rowan O'Connor that came in and just got a hand to the ball. He's gone down injured now. I think it's Rowan O'Connor anyway, but either way, it's a free out for Newcastlewest and a chance to just slow things down a little bit again.
Yeah, indeed, and you know, it's proven difficult now for Adare. Thomas Quilligan is coming off and Lee Wolf is coming on. Have a big bearing on the junior final next week, with Seamus Hurley and Lee Wolf haven't been played.
Senior will always take precedence, Billy.
Oh, indeed, no question about it.
And I think it is Rowan O'Connor that's down injured still. Maybe it's not. Could be Aaron Neville back there. I think it's Rowan, but
it is Rowan,
over on the far side. And it shows the type of player he is too. But he was willing to put the head in there to make sure that ball was won by Newcastlewest. A very talented young player on the outskirts of the Limerick panel in 2023 as well. Thereabouts, match day panel at times. So bright future ahead of him.
Indeed.
And shows very talented footballer as well as putting his body on the line when needed as well.
Yeah, indeed, and he was captain of the Limerick under 20s, so he's got that leadership in him as well. So quite an unassuming young lad, and just gets on with it. Read the play well there and got in. And look, he was in a Hammerson for free, but it was a free because of the conditions, and looks like it's a blood sub. They're calling, John Hallam was calling the blood sub.
Yeah, so definitely a bit of contact on the Newcastlewest number 5. And there's Aaron Neville will be moved back to half back for the time being. Before a substitute is.
They'd have heard that roar in Newcastlewest.
I'm sure you've heard that roar many times, given where it was coming from. But the man that's coming on is Brian Foley, another young player and an experienced player at this stage as well. That's Foley on temporarily, you'd imagine, for Rowan O'Connor, as this one's cleared downfield by Michael O'Leary. Breakdown added to brilliantly by Emmett Richter, and a race on between Brian Nixon and Josh Toomey. 50-50 ball. It's going to break now to Stephen Brosnan. Alfred's off his line. Once more, brilliant novel pickup from Brosnan. It's into Emmett Richter. A point would do for Newcastlewest here. Doesn't nothing forthcoming, but Richter picked it up off the ground.
Yeah.
Free out to Adare.
But what was interesting there, Ronan Connolly going back, recovering, and the one time they should have brought the goalie into it, a kick pass back, soccer style, and giving it and taking the pressure away, and failed to do it. So they're just not making the right decisions at the right time in the game, and they're putting themselves under pressure. And lucky to get away with that. It's just a bad decision which was out of their control, but they got away with it.
They did, and it's a chance for Adare to try and reduce Newcastlewest's advantage once more. We've 3 minutes of regular time remaining here at the two Gaelic grounds. It's Newcastlewest leading 3-4, which is 13 points to Adare's 11 here in the dying embers of this 2023 decider. And it is Davy Lyons playing a lovely ball in towards Hughie Burke. Just got away from him. It was probably a low percentage one. It was worth a try though from their point of view. The right man
indeed
looking to get it.
It's just only fractions again, no question about it.
It's Newcastlewest now under pressure, moving forward with it. Lee Wolf at the hand pass, but it's only as far as Paul Maher. Brilliantly read by Maher. Plays this one inside to Hughie Burke. Good defending back there. Well, it's deemed a foul by Seamus Hurley on Hughie Burke. And I don't know from our angle here.
Another tight one, very tight one. Great defence here in the middle of the field by Adare to turn it over, put pressure, and Lee Wolf wind up hand passing it to one of those players. But that was great work, in the dying embers of the game, as you said. They're working really hard, and if we want to understand what had happened at half time or just before half time, I think if they were showing in the second half, they're resilient, they're tough, they're hard to beat.
It's Hughie Burke with a chance to put the bare minimum between them. Has he done enough with that to bring it back in? Hits the post, and Mike McMahon is there. Crucial miss at a crucial time from Hughie Burke. 9 out of 10 you'd expect him to score, and it's a free out for Newcastlewest. As a result, we're in. As Rowan O'Connor is back on the field as well, Brian Foley has departed the action after coming on as a blood sub as Newcastlewest tried to close this one out by moving play downfield. Onto it again is Michael O'Leary. He's already got a point in this game. Moving forwards, another push in the back and a chance now, and Mike Quilligan is certainly edging towards maybe making a move up the field, but I think Owen Hurley territory.
Yeah, you'd expect Owen to be able to, that's within his range, so it's an important one. It's going to force it there, really go for goal. Good attack, Rowan O'Connor, good use of the ball by Newcastle. They attacked, give it off the shoulder, and the fellow receiving the ball was driving at the gap as they attacked the player.
We're going to have 5 minutes of added time at the end, minimum added time, as Owen Hurley strikes that one over the bar, and that's a 3-point lead again for Newcastlewest, and at a vital time that comes.
Absolutely vital. It just makes it, in 5 minutes, the way the game has gone, it's going to be hard for Adare to get 3 points, you think, but look, we'll wait and see if they can work a goal, but they're going to have to move the ball forward at a bit more pace than they have been doing, because they're going to allow Newcastle to get back, and it's proven difficult to break down that Newcastle defence.
It's all for Adare now. They may, even within the 5 minutes, judging by the way this game has gone, it looks like they could need a goal, as Willie Griffin has possession here for Adare. They'd want him closer to goal, switches play. John O'Halloran still playing advantage. It's going to land out over the sideline, so play will come back. And a chance for Adare as another substitution. Brian Foley is going to come in, maybe on a full term basis now for Rowan O'Connor. So that is a full sub, I think, now. Brian Foley on for Rowan O'Connor.
Is it proving difficult for Adare? Newcastle have everyone in behind the 45. As we stand, there's only 2 players outside the Newcastle defensive 45 metre line. Little or no space inside out. It's going to take a fortuitous break for Adare to walk a goal from there.
Yeah, correction on that as well. It's Aaron Neville that's come off. Initially it was Rowan O'Connor's number that went up, as Sean Murphy is all over Hughie Burke. Eventually gives away a free, but it put him under severe pressure. Ronan Connolly now off to Burke again. Maybe a goal chance developing. He'll be fouled before that, you can be sure. And it will be a free into Adare, and on the 21 metre line, Billy, he's going to have to pop it over.
I think so. I think just put it back, make a 2-point game, then a goal can win the game for you. I think at this stage Adare may need to bring Hughie more out so that he can run the Newcastle defence. He's very elusive, he's got good balance, he can sway from one side to the other, and he could win frees that could be in scoreable positions, so I think where they're positioning for the last 3 or 4 minutes could make a difference in the game,
Well, you were in Kilmallock last year when this final went to extra time. Do we dread it? Say it again that there's a bit of work for Adare to do. Obviously they trail by 3. This should be making it a 2-point game given the proximity of where the free will be taken from, but we won't dare rule it out yet.
No, and look, as I said, it's Saturday. Ian has gone back on here again for whoever's coming off injured. It looks like young Richter, is it? Looks like him to me.
It's Emmett Richter. It is indeed Emmett Richter that's in a bit of trouble.
And Ian has thrown off the bandaging. So look, sometimes swings and roundabouts in sport. Newcastle were fortunate just to get the draw out of it at the date last year. If you look at the scoreboard, 11 points, 3-5, and Adare gifted Newcastle 2 goals. They'll be really kicking themselves if they don't take it extra time or win it itself,
So it's Emmett Richter on a temporary basis, is that one. He's come off with an injury, so it's Hughie Burke now to take this one, put 2 between the sides, and he's done exactly that as Hughie. So 62.5 minutes played, 2.5 minutes of a minimum of 5 minutes additional time. It's a 2-point game once more.
Yeah, and while the clock says just less 2.25 minutes to go, I imagine there'll be another 3/4 minute after the stoppage there for young Richter. So there's probably about 3.5 minutes to go.
Mike Quilligan with the goes long as he's done so often in this game. It's won again by Paul Maher and Adare breaking the loose ball. Robbie Burke touching it down, but they've turned it over. Brian Foley picking off that hand pass, and it's played over the top now, and a chance for Brian Nix to run onto it. Good touch from Nix, gets it into his hands. Corbett immediately back into the game, in towards Owen Hurley. Cian Sparling gets out in front and wins it back for Adare. Plays this one up now to Davy Lyons, and Davy, just with the conditions you see, can't get the ball up first time. It's going to be forced back inside. That's Shane Costello now to Ronan Connolly. Connolly's going to run before offloading to Shane Costello. Back to Ronan Connolly once more. Lovely bit of feet movement from him, and it's off to Costello. Shane Costello now maybe take it on, opts to give it off to Joe Sweeney. Sweeney's path to goal is blocked out, and he's under a fair bit of pressure, and the defence is very, very good from Newcastlewest. But Adare were the architects of their own misfortune there, Billy.
Yeah, just I don't know what you can say about it. Just
went down that blind alley.
Yeah, they created a great chance between Ronan Connolly and Shane Costello initially, and Sweeney got caught between a rock and a hard place of what direction to go with, and wound up turning the ball. This is going to go along for me, no question about it. It
bounces all the way over. Battle between Brian Nix and Jeffrey Alfred, and he's been tugged. It will be a free to Adare.
You'd have to think it's goal or nothing from Adare at this point. It's going to be very often get 2 points the way this is shaping up.
Need I talk back to 2017 when Jack English came up with exactly that at that end as well. The last ditch winner for Adare to land in their first ever county senior title, as Robbie Burke is fouled. Free in for Adare, and a chance for Hughie Burke to put the bare minimum between them as we come up to the 5-minute mark, Billy, and we expect a bit more time to be added. It's going to be even Jeffrey Alfred to take it.
Yeah, and I think they should kick it off the bar and give themselves a chance, you know. They're dominant long kickouts. They're winning all the breaks anytime we go along. They're putting pressure on Newcastle. They can't force to go short, so they can get this score. It'll be an interesting last 30 seconds, a minute, as to what will happen.
So Alfred strikes it over the bar. So we have played the minimum of the 5 minutes additional time as Jeffrey Alfred's second free of the half makes it 3-5, 14 points to Newcastlewest, 13 points to Adare. Well, it's as tight as we expect it to be going down the home stretch, Billy.
That's it. Look, it was never going to be anything more than a kick of a ball between either team. Massive kick out from Newcastle. Same towards Mike McMahon.
McMahon plays it down. It's Adare that have it through Davy Lyons. Surely maybe in the last play of the game here it's off, and there's been a foul, and it's a free just inside the 45-metre line. A chance for Adare to surely bring this from 2 extra time.
It's a big kick and not straightforward. Now young Vanford has kicked 2 mighty frees. It's just like a bullet over a gun. It just goes straight. It's no deviation. You know, it's going to be borderline. You know, it's going to be really, really borderline.
He doesn't put a huge effort into the way he kicks it. His kicking style is fairly, I won't say lackadaisical because it's not, but it's that kind of lazy kind of swing of the right boot. He's usually very accurate. So this,
and look, you know, in light of the error he made in the first half, you'd like to see a young fella, you know, step up and do this now. I know I'm no Newcastle man, but at the same time,
he struck it, but it's off target from Jeffrey Alfred. It's dropped in. It's bobbling around the edge of the square. It's there. It's a free out to Newcastlewest, and with that is surely a 3 in a row for the Magpies. It's not the full-time whistle yet. They have possession though. Over on the far side, Brian Nix. He doesn't really need to do anything but hold on to the ball. Surely Nix takes on his man though, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's still going, Brian Nix, met by the challenge from Josh Toomey. Plays it back. The full-time whistle goes. Newcastle have done it, 3 in a row. County titles for the Magpies. It's heartbreak for Adare yet again for the 3rd year running against Newcastlewest. Victory for Jimmy Lee, defeat for John Bruder and Pat Donnelly of Adare. Billy Lee, your final thoughts on what is a momentous day for your own club, first of all?
Yeah, a big day for the club in Newcastle. You know, these lads are very talented. You know, there's a lot of players have vacated, you know, the club in the last number of years with travels and whatnot. And, you know, the work that's been done underage, going back many a day with all the people, they shouldn't be forgotten a day like today. And, you know, they bring through the young fellas to replace the lads who've gone away, and you know, and so look, it's never easy to do 3 in a row in any county, in any sport, and you know, happy congratulations to Jimmy, his management team, and the team itself, you know, so outstanding ambassadors for the town, and they don't wilt, they keep going.
And this is it. And even looking back, Billy, like I was in Mallow around this time last year in December, where a Munster title, you couldn't say it went to begging, but there was an opportunity there. And you know, the heads could have dropped, and they could have dropped for a while after. It was a tough defeat to Kearns O'Rahilly's in Mallow in that Munster final. They've bounced back. Even talking to Jimmy that evening in Mallow, as tough as it was a defeat, there was a steely determination on him. You know him better than anyone, of course, but he was determined that Newcastle will be back in 2023, and they've done it again.
Yeah, and look, it's about being able to take the hard knocks and the hard defeats, and that was certainly one that day. That was a game that Newcastle, in my eyes, should have won. It wasn't down to what Rahilly's really did. It was down to the chances Newcastle missed. Just 10 or 12 minutes after half-time, Jack Savage put one or two great balls in. Tommy Walsh caused the trouble, and they got 2 goals out of him, and they were significant in the game. But Newcastle dominated the play and ultimately should have won. But look, it's great from here today again, the lads, that they bounce back, and it's continuity for the club. The hurling is going well as well, so we're happy with that. Adare will find the victory or defeat hard to take. You know, they give away 2 goals, and without that Newcastle wouldn't win. We won by points, so they're going to find it really, really difficult tonight to accept that and to deal with that. But you know, look, they showed themselves today what they are, a really good football team. I would say dominated possession for most of the game. Newcastle's defensive setup made it hard for them to break it down. But I think what was it, 13 scores to 3-5, something like that. So that tells you 13 scores to 8. So they had the more scoring opportunities, or took the more scoring opportunities. That was just unfortunate with poor decisions and poor execution of the passes that cost them the game.
Yeah, we will be joining the presentation in a few minutes' time. But Billy, you mentioned the ambassadors for the town. Obviously, you're a Newcastle man yourself. You know, it means everything. Football and hurling in the town of Newcastlewest, it is a religion. There's no point saying otherwise. The GAA is obviously, they have their rugby club, sport in general, the soccer team, Newcastlewest town as well. You know, sport is everything in that part of Limerick. And just even further, like, elaborate on how much this actually does mean to everyone inside the town.
It does. Look, I mean, we're a big town, but we've got a lot of competition for players, and players like to try and play rugby, they like to try and play soccer, they're playing hurling and football, and it's never straightforward. And you know, with a big town, you know, a small enough club with members and stuff like that, and I suppose you go over the last 30 years, the same names of family names keep popping up and doing the work. And you know, we're very fortunate that, you know, a lot of people come in from outside and reside in the town, and they input into the club, which is great. And look, long may it last for the town. It gives the young lads facilities and places to go and express themselves and have something to do. And I think every big town needs that kind of a facility. Only recently there's been an athletics hub after being opened as well, and big populated towns need that, so kids have places to go and have things to do, you know. So look, it's great, and look, it's not easy. A lot of hard work goes in by the club to raise funds, to run the hurling club and the football club. So look, congratulations to all of them, and more luck to them.
A word on Owen Hurley, who at the full-time whistle was named as man of the match as well. You know, he scored all his frees, he got his couple of goals. He was a constant thorn in the Adare defence as well, and consistency is the key. That people like you, managers, trainers, we're always looking for that consistency. Every time Owen Hurley goes out in the field for Newcastlewest, in hurling and football, he has that consistent nature of the way he plays. He does invariably deliver more often than not. He
does indeed. Look, I think he's gone into today, he'd won 26, scored across the championship with about, I don't know, something like 16 frees. He got scored on 110 from play, and he came up with 2-4 today out of 3-5. You know, what can you say? There was only going to be one. I felt Ian had a big part to play in both the goals, with the second and third goal for Newcastle. But you couldn't deny Owen that accolade tonight. When Mike Mack dropped back, he led the line. He was all the time showing in front. He wasn't going hiding. He was there to try and win the ball and hold it up front for us and be that outlet. So deserve a man in the match.
It's on to Munster now, and again, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, maybe a little bit of unfinished business. It's a very difficult competition for any Limerick team to win at any level, whether it be senior, intermediate or junior. But these lads will fancy their chances. They'll have Clonmel commercials again next weekend, you know, which I believe is at a tip venue as well, just like it was last year at this stage. but they'll fancy themselves to go far in that competition too, Bill.
Yeah, look, and you mentioned about unfinished business. I imagine Clonmel will feel that way towards Newcastle last year. Newcastle were outstanding above them Thurles last year. Turned up and kicked a lot of scores, which a lot of us wouldn't have seen going into the game. But they were truly outstanding. They really took the game to Clonmel all through. So it's 1-1. We played them in 2015. Probably should have beat them that day. They beat us at the date. We did it last year, so I suppose this is the third time around, and I'm sure they were here today watching. I'm sure they're sitting in the high grass, so that won't be easy. And I think the winners go on and play Dingle, and Dingle have been really good in Kerry this year, led by the Gainies, who are a handful for any for any defence. There's four of them there, and they're powerful. So it's not going to be easy come through the side of the draw, whether you're Newcastle, Clonmel, or Dingle for that matter, because they're going to have to come and try and beat either team, whoever they meet. So look, I'm sure the boys will enjoy tonight, and I think in days like this, you have to enjoy. You put a lot of effort and time into trying to win championships. When you win it, you've got to enjoy it, and I'm sure they'll enjoy it tomorrow, and probably get back at it Wednesday then again, and kind of focus the minds for next weekend. It's never easy to turn around in a 1 week, but that's the challenge that's given to them, and they're going to have to deal with it and get on with it. But I'm sure they'll want to go at Clonmel again and take it to them.
Before we head down to the presentation, a word on Adare. There was nothing in it again between these two brilliant teams. They've dominated over the last 6-7 years within Limerick senior football. And as heartbreaking a defeat as it is for them, there's no question they'll be back next year again.
Yeah, Newcastle and Adare are the two teams that everyone's got to get after. They're setting the standard. So if you want to win a county championship, Limerick, you have to surpass them, and you have to be doing what they are doing. And there's one or two clubs out there that are coming, and if they continue to work, you think they'll get there in time. But they have to continue to work, because I don't think either of these two clubs are going to stand still. I suppose both clubs are losing their management teams now, with the advent of Jimmy Gunn in managing Limerick, and John Gunn with him with Pa and Stephen here as well. So that's an opportunity for other clubs. New management come in, they have different ideas, they want to go about it differently, and players just take time to adapt and manage it. So there are opportunities there for other clubs if they set about it and decide they're going after this. But that's not to say that either of these two clubs are going anywhere. It's just that there's a change of the guard, and with a change of the guard, it just takes time.
So it's Newcastlewest heading now towards the presentation area. We'll leave that presentation, or we'll go down to that presentation momentarily with Wayne Fitzgerald, the Limerick football chairman. My many thanks to Billy Lee for his company and expert analysis for this afternoon's final, where Newcastlewest are champions again, and we leave it down to Wayne now.
I want to thank our referee John O'Halloran and his team of officials for a great game in trying conditions out there. Thanks very much, John. We want to thank our loyal and very generous sponsor, Irish Wire Products, and Paddy Mulvihill for his continued sponsorship of the Limerick Senior Football Championship. I will ask Paddy to present the man of the match in the 2023 Limerick Senior Football Championship to Owen Hawley of Newcastlewest. We had a fantastic final here today, with two teams battling out from the very start to the end, and nothing in it, only a point, a kick of a ball at the end. To Adare, commiserations. No matter what I say or anyone say here this evening, it's not easy to lose a final, but you're an outstanding team. A credit to your parish and a credit to the village of Adare, and keep the heads up, and you'll be back again next year, I've no doubt about that, lads. To Newcastlewest, there isn't much that can be said that you haven't achieved. 3 in a row, lads, last achieved by the Treaty team in 1975. It's an amazing achievement, and I'm sure that you'll have many a day during the week to celebrate this before you go out and represent Limerick in the Munster Championship next Sunday against Clonmel Commercials. So congratulations, lads, on a massive, incredible achievement. And it's a double celebration this week for Ian Corbett, so I'll ask Ian to come up and accept the Father Liam Casey Cup on behalf of the treble-winning Newcastlewest team.
As always, look, it's a great honour to accept the cup on behalf of the people of Newcastle. We've massive pride in where we come from, and we love representing the club. I'll start first by thanking a few people. I'll thank the ground staff here. There was a few issues with pitches over the weekend, so it was grand to get a pitch that was playable over the weekend. To the football board, the county board and all the sponsors involved in the competition, thanks very much for your support and the publicity involved in promoting football in Limerick. To Adare, look, it's a horrible place to be. You're an unbelievable bunch. You kind of came out of nowhere in 2016 and took Limerick football by storm. My words won't be much consolation for you, but there's young fellas in Adare now that grow up wanting to play senior football for Adare, which probably wasn't the case 10 or 15 years ago. So you're an incredible bunch, and we'll see you again next year. To all our backroom team, I'll try my best to mention you all. Rory Vaughan, Sean Fitz, Jack Gleeson, Keith Begley came back today, we hadn't seen him in a while. Trevor Neville, who's not here with us, just thanks very much. A lot of the work that you do is unseen and probably underappreciated at times, but we really appreciate you, and you're very important parts of the team. To our management team, Rocket, Wally, our statsman, Padraig Valley, they say the council don't do much work. I tend to agree with all the matches and stats we get off him. Thanks very much, Padraig. To our coaches, Joe and Stephen, it's unbelievable. The passion you bring to every training session is incredible. It comes from you being townies like the rest of us. You love the club so much, and look, every day we go to training we probably fight with each other more than we fight with any other team, and that's a lot of times, but there's so much effort goes into training, the organisation, and everything is top class. So thanks very much, Stephen and Joe. To our manager, Jimmy Lee. Jimmy, a few years ago you took over the job and people were probably in shock when we told them. Jimmy, you've managed 21 games in Limerick Senior Football Championship. You've never lost one. A Limerick football team hadn't won games in Munster for 13 or 14 years. We've done that repeatedly, and we'll try again next Sunday. Jimmy, thanks a million from all of us. To the boys here that I get the honour of representing, I suppose, look, it's incredible what you've done. Hasn't been done for near on 50 years. It's well documented how many players are abroad and not available to us this year. But as we always say, the strength in us is our pride, our passion, our work rate. Talent can only get you so far, boys, but you work your socks off every single night, and this is just rewards for that. I think that's all. I have 3 things left to say as usual, and I want them to ring around Limerick for another 12 months. NCW! Go on, get it up! Come on. You lift it. Here, look. Wayne, is the box there, is it? Huh? Yeah. Box. Lift it up, Haley. Hold it. Here it is.
to make the tackle.
So Owen Hurley from the 21-metre line. No mistake from Owen Hurley. That's to you, Burke. Now, you could have a crack from here. Be some strike if he can play it on target. Hughie Burke has got an absolutely... Now, Hughie Burke, a few metres away from the edge of the D. Kicks this one, and that one is straight over the bar. Play inside the 14. Good moving from Connolly. May need a bit of help here, Ronan. Connolly off his left. This would be a sensational score from Ronan. Turns for his defensive work, but it's a turnover here. New Burke has it. Pass off to Robbie. Robbie off his left to put it there. 3 up. And